Hello everyone, this is me, this is Bekir Fatih Maral, Sakarya University Department of Special Education. Today my second presentation about the sleep problems and the assessment procedures. Let me share screen with you. Okay. Yes, sleep problems. Previous slide, as I said, it's major parts of are major parts of the human life and the main indicators of the health-related quality of life. First, maybe feeding, and the second, sleep problems. Sleep quality is really, really important for child development because the one, especially growth hormones, to is developing the body, is the increasing our bodies or other brain developmental, our cognition developmental, on many things during the sleep periods too. So everybody, especially children, should have the very nice, very good sleep hygiene. When we compare to individuals or children with intellectual and developmental disabilities, when compared to their peers, unfortunately, they show the higher prevalence sleep problems. Let's see the video. uh, the nature of the sleep. Sorry.
Sleep?
Yeah.
We spend 1/3 of life sleeping. The following videos will discuss why sleep is important, what we know about the biology of sleep, and what are some of the common sleep disorders. We hope that you will have a better understanding of the benefits of sleep and how to make sure you are getting the right amount of quality sleep to maximize your health and happiness. You might have wondered, as many people do, why we need to sleep. Why is it so important? You will spend nearly 1/3 of your life sleeping. That's a lot of time. Think about it. When you sleep, you're unaware of your external surroundings. You lose all perception of the outside world. In fact, as soon as you fall asleep, most of your senses are turned off. You're unaware of the sights, the sounds, and the smells around you. This is an extremely dangerous state to be in, especially if you're prey to a larger animal on the food chain. This is why most animals find a safe place to sleep, why we as humans sleep in rooms in safe environments. Why would you naturally turn off all of your senses if sleep were critically important for maintaining health? This gives you reason to learn about sleep and all of its benefits. Sleep increases your concentration levels. This allows you to learn and focus in school. It boosts your immune system so that you can avoid getting sick. And thirdly, it increases your emotional well-being. During sleep, human growth hormone is released from your brain. It helps your body grow, repair damage, and build muscle. The most important function of sleep on the brain is its role in learning and memory. Memory formation is broken down into 3 processes. The first is encoding. This happens when you're awake and take in new information. The second is consolidation. This happens when you sleep and the new information is stored in your brain. The third is retrieval, which is when the stored information in your brain is accessed and recalled, or in other words, when you remember the information. The deepest stage of non-REM sleep, known as slow wave sleep, is when memory consolidation happens. How does this work? Sleep promotes the formation of new connections between brain cells. These connections are called synapses. Synapses are where your memories are stored. It's been found that more synapses are formed when well rested versus a sleep-deprived state. Therefore, when studying for exams, you should keep in mind that an extra hour of late-night studying might be doing more harm than good. You might be surprised that while sleep is a natural process, more than half of all adults claim that they do not get enough sleep. This is why it's so important that you learn about the mechanisms of sleep. The amount of sleep you need actually changes throughout your life, depending on your age and how much energy you expend in a day. Infants need about 16 hours of sleep a day, while teenagers need about 9 hours on average. Adults tend to only need about 7 to 8 hours a night. The amount of sleep you need also increases if you've been deprived of sleep in the previous days. On average, you should get 1 hour of sleep for every 2 hours you spend awake. This is a 1 to 2 ratio. So, say your day is 16 hours long. You wake up at 7 a.m. and you go to bed at 11 p.m. This means that you should get 16 divided by 2, which is 8 hours of sleep. This is a good way to keep track of how much sleep you need on a day-to-day basis.
To move.
Let's back to our slides. Sorry. Yeah, you see how important sleep is. I'm not talking about the personal issue, but I like very much. At least I try to sleep per day the 8 hours. 8 hours. I'm really careful about my sleep hygiene. Otherwise, you can be a very stressful and exhausted. Many bad things. We can be. Also wherein it can be negative, if you don't have a good sleep hygiene, your health is might be badly affected. So everyone, especially children with or without disability, has to be careful about the sleep hygiene. Sleep problems experienced with a higher prevalence by children with IDD. Many research, especially comparisons with their typically developing the proof with the confirming these results. For example, the Boyle and colleagues reported that increasing prevalence of sleep problems in adult with ID when compared to with general population. Also, though those exhibit more daytime irritability, stereotype, hyperactivity than those without sleep problems. If you want to see the extra video, you can link this YouTube link. Okay, I have to very careful about my timeline. The reason of the sleep problems can categorize the basically two different reasons, different causes. The first one is the instructing, and the second one extracting factors. Instructing factors are defined based on the physical origin. Extracting factors, especially related to environmental causes, environmental reasons. For example, if our bedrooms are too cold or too hot, or for example, the lights, smell, our hygiene, many things that can be affected our sleeps. The poor sleep hygiene also very important. For example, going to bed too early, or getting up too late, spending too much time to falling asleep. Many things they can be categorized under the external or the extrinsic sleep problems, sleep causes. Person with ID spend a much longer time sleep onset. This means, the falling asleep than the developing peers. This calculate the total sleep time, divide the time in a bed, multiplied by 100. This formula, if you can use this formula, you can easily calculate the how much time you can spend your falling asleep. You can easily find that. Sleep problems also might be associated with pain. For example, if you headache or if you have pain around your body, it is not easy, especially too really bad. To think about your teeth. If you have had a pain, it's not easy. Falling asleep. Also, increased body mass index. Unfortunately, the higher body mass index, the badly affected your sleep hygiene and your sleep quality. Pain, there are some research to kind of relationship between pain and sleep problems. For example, night walking, parasomnia, sleep disorder, breathings. Also, another reports about two ties between relationship between sleep problems and the body mass index. Higher body mass index increases the sleep apnea syndromes or also other sleep disorders. These other sleep disorders include the bedtime resistance, sleep anxiety, night walking, parasomnia, daytime sleepiness, sleep disorder breathings, particularly obstructive sleep apnea, especially in children with Down syndrome. Another potential component of sleep problems is severity of ID. If a child's severity of ID high, might moderate the prevention severity, that I'm talking about that. If higher the ID, severity of ID, higher level, this can be this can reason to the higher level sleep problems. When I see the kind of sleep problems, if you don't have a sleep problems, you are very lucky. You can see, so many these sleep problems. Bedtime resistance, sleep anxiety, night waking, parasomnia, daytime sleep. If you are the normal person without any problems in relation to your sleep, you just go to sleep and falling asleep. You are very lucky, men and girls. Sleep problems also reduce the sleep quality, of course, quality of life to other family members. Think about if you are a parent, yes, maybe you don't have any problems your sleeps, but if your child couldn't sleep, this increase your quality of life and you feel very stressful. You cannot sleep, you cannot sleep. Your sleeps as a parents depending on your child's sleeps. So especially considering the children, sleep problems should be taken also should be considered not just an individual issue, as a social and the parental issue. So definitely should be taken as some measures to solve these problems. Sometimes, unfortunately, some parents the feelings, negative things towards their child, punish their child. these problems to negatively impact the camel functioning. The sleep routine, especially really important for family orders, family system. If your child's falling asleep very, very late, you couldn't sleep very well. Probably next day you will feel very exhausted, and you couldn't do anything, as other people. And about the sleep problems, if these problems, not just individual, at the same time, they are a communal or societal issue, and we try to solve these problems. The first step should be assessment of sleep problems. We can use some assessment tools normally developed by typically developing people. We can use these tools for children or individual with intellectual or developmental disabilities. We can use that easily. If we use these tools, the standardized tools, to giving this scores, the obtaining some scores, can show us the how or which level of our kids or adults with intellectual disabilities sleep problem level. If we use this score, if we calculate this score. First tool, the sleep questionnaire. Is a 7-point Likert type scale, was developed by Simon and Paraga and modified by later 1996 and other professionals. Especially this sleep questionnaire used to investigate the sleep problems of Down syndrome and the other ID, intellectual disabilities. 4 types of sleep factor can be assessed by using these tools. First, the disorder of initiating and maintaining sleep. Second, features associated with obstructive sleep apnea. Third, disorders, behaviors occurring during sleep. Sorry, I'm really excused. And the 4, sleep-related 40 and sleep-related disorder behaviors occurring during the time. Another tools to assess the sleep problem is the children's sleep habit questionnaire. It was designed to investigate the sleep problems. Parent-based report measures. This means the proxy report. We are asking the sleep issues in relation to our kids, target kids. We will ask our question to his or her parents. It's a proxy report. This assessment tool includes 45 items, a total score and 8 conceptual group subscale scores measuring the bedtime resistance, sleep onset delay, sleep duration, sleep anxiety, night walkings, parasomnia, sleep daytime. What was this abbreviation? Let me check. I'm really sorry. Yeah, sleep disorder breathing, sorry. Yes, sleep disorder breathing. Yeah, and daytime sleepiness. Another one is children's sleep behavior scale. This was developed by Fisher, Paul, and McQuire. It's 22-item Likert type scale. Parents can screen by using this tool, broad range of the specific sleep problems, especially elementary school children, And another one, behavioral evaluation disorders of sleeps. Abbreviation is bad. Yeah, this is good, nice. was developed by Frank Muig and Rojan. The BET is a sleep problems questionnaire based on parental reports of problem sleep behavior and constructed from items from International Classification of Sleep Disorders. This I think this yeah, it's a scale, it's a classification scale used by the American Sleep Disorder Association. Yeah, categorization of dysomnias and parasomnias. It was developed for children aged 5 and 12 years. The original batch includes 107 items, measuring the sleep behaviors based on sleep disorder related to children. Responses to items were 5-point Likert type from the 0 to 4. 0 means never, 4 means always. And the last one, the family inventory sleep habits, which was developed by Malone College in order to assess the sleep hygiene in children with autism spectrum disorder. Yeah, what is the next step? Next steps, after describing the nature of the feeding and the sleep problems, also what kind of assessment tools can be used to assess or evaluate the feeding and the sleep problems. The next step is how can we solve these problems? What kind of the behavioral strategies can we use in a non-pharmacological way as a behavioral analyst or practitioners or special education teachers or parents? We will focus on just non-pharmacological and evidence-based practices. More serious or further issues, the more critical issues, maybe some parents or individuals, to should go to the hospital or medical professionals. But as a practitioner in special education area, we just just define or describe the evidence-based behavior strategies. Next presentation will be on some strategies in feeding problems to solve. And also, again, another behavioral strategies to solve the sleep problems. Until the next presentation, thank you so much. And I wish for everyone healthy eating and the healthy and the sufficient sleep. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.